involved in this as well.
Well, you see some lawyers who've made up to just over £4 million out of it. Yeah, it's cynical to say that it's all about them trying to get the money, but at the same time, I think the government, as well as both sides in the argument, want to see it done properly. And I think the government really, really wanted everything, signed and sealed.
Well, we had a commentator talking about 20 minutes ago on the programme, and he said the Nuremberg war crimes trials took 1 year. 1 year. That's to cover the whole Second World War, and this took 12
well, it's
years.
astonishing to think, especially when the first report back in '72 took 40 days.
Yeah.
So.
Right, we move on now to this whole business of vetting people who work with children.
Yeah, on the front of the Telegraph, the vetting and barring system, they're talking about how they're going to halt this now. And it did appear that a lot of children were going to miss out as a result of it. There was going to be volunteers who didn't want to sign up for this thing, the people in work who had to actually pay money to register with the screen. Now, yesterday, my son, 11-year-old, went on his first school trip. He's gone there for a week away. Yeah. Now, something like that, he would have missed out on under this scheme if certain people didn't want to sign up and didn't want to spend the money. And you could see yesterday that whole school bus full of kids in year 6 last year in primary school. A lovely bonding moment. They would have missed out on that. They would have missed out on a great life experience. And I think that's what would have missed. A lot of people would have missed out.
Is their whole safety not much more important? Better safe than sorry?
Well, you've got to take some sort of trust with the teachers. There's 5 or 6 teachers on a school bus with them. They've got to be open to these experiences, I think.
Here's a very disturbing story. Young girl who suffered, Lindsay Scott, who suffered from cystic fibrosis. She underwent a lung transplant. The problem with this was what?
Well, she had cystic fibrosis. She had this in January 2009. Now, it's turned out the family have requested her medical notes and discovered that it was the lungs of a heavy smoker that she got. Now, she died of pneumonia, and they're not exactly saying that the cause of death was due to the lung.
But it does seem strange that you would be given that you would go through that whole process with someone who had smoked for 30 years.
Well, for 30 years, the family obviously very upset. They said that she would never have taken on those lungs. However, it is pointed out that there is a lot of these sort of lungs in existence simply because there is such a dearth of healthy lungs available for transplant. It just shows up.
But the point is, you should be told.
You should be told, but you're not at the moment.
ITV, their start to the World Cup, they're under attack.
Yeah, I think someone in the Mirror offices has got a downer on ITV at the moment. Obviously, we had the moment ITV HD when they missed the goal in the England game.
Which was pretty inexcusable.
It was pretty inexcusable, but it was a lovely Hyundai ad in the end, wasn't it? We've got Adrian Childs is also coming under attack. He's been scruffy. They're saying he's not worth the £6 million deal to go over to ITV. They're not very happy with that.
I'd have done it for free.
I'd have joined you. I'd have held your court. And just all the ad breaks again, but that's not a new thing with ITV. We know all about that. But
well, they lose so much money, they're squeezing it all in now, aren't they, while the advertisers are willing to pay.
Also, inappropriate mentions of Rorke's Drift and things like that. They don't like the too jokey-blokey banter that they're having on ITV at the moment. And I think, judging by what's in the Mirror today, a lot of fans want it to stop.
Oh, I was watching Matt Smith last night. Very good pro. Thought it was very good coverage. All excellent. Jellyfish. Now, what is the point of jellyfish? Along with wasps and things like pigeons, what is the point? And blue bottles.
To scare the living daylights out of all of this.
So why aren't we doing something? Why aren't we going out and catching them in nets and disposing of them?
Hopefully we should do with this lot. This is 200 lion's mane jellyfish, which have just hove into view off Land's End. Now, usually they stay out in further out waters, but because of the cold winter, they're moving closer to the shore. Now, these will give you a nasty sting. They won't kill you, but there's plenty of them. They're bright red. So you can see them coming, I think. Yeah. And who goes for a swim off Land's End anyway? You've got to be fairly nuts to do that. But watch out for them. They're hanging around and they're out to bite you.
And they have lion's mane tentacles.
Indeed.
That was tentacles.
That's scary.
Charlotte. Finally, nice pussy. Look at this.
Isn't this lovely? This is the £3,000 a pop Sphinx cat. Very popular at the moment.
Really?
Particularly with asthmatics. I don't think it's an alternative to the Ventolin inhaler.
Could you love a face like that, Charlotte?
Yes. Oh, look, each to their own. And some people love cats like that. I mean, maybe they're not quite as cuddly as the traditional versions.
No, it's like something from Alien or something. Or there was that little film Gremlins, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, don't feed it after midnight.
You could knit him a little jumper, couldn't you, or something?
Because it's got no hair, asthmatics love it. They can have a good sniff of the cat.
You could knit them a little jumper. There you go. Thank you. Michael Booker, appreciate that. Michael's from the Daily Star Sunday. Thank you. Top stories.
Holland count.
They get everywhere, don't they? The symbol of this year's World Cup. This is the Vuvuzela. I think I've got that right. Trevor Cox is the president of the Institute of acoustics. And we're going to talk about these now, Trevor. Before this World Cup, had you heard of a vuvuzela?
No, I couldn't even say it either.
No, I can't. My various pronunciations of this. Now, the main thing is this plastic horn emits a sound equivalent to 127 decibels. Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
That's a very bad thing. I mean, that's incredibly loud. That's right near the threshold of pain. Well, you have to get your ear right near the bell to get it that loud, but these are a danger to hearing.
Yeah. Well, we'll put this in context. If the ref blows his whistle, that's only 122 decibels, and a jet taking off 300 metres away from you would only be 130 decibels. So a jet is the same noise as what you get for this. Now, I would like to measure this in studio, and we've brought along a consumer panel this morning who are very good at horn blowing, we hear. Jacqueline, you're going to be measured now to see if you're a health and safety risk here this morning. Trevor has got his instrument, and what happens now?
Well, you just play it.
Point it in this
I shall
direction.
look at the number on the screen and I'll
I
tell you.
can't do it.
What is that? No, this way. You've got to point it at this thing.
All right, okay.
The more you point out at me, the louder it'll be. You have to blow a raspberry down it.
I can't do it.
That's because you're afraid of ruining your lip gloss. Pass it to Charlotte. You've got a bigger mouth.
Sorry, Charlotte.
Right there.
Now I've got all of Jackie's lip gloss on it.
That was 114 decibels.
That's a big one.
Sorry.
Right,
Was that a bit loud?
114, so I've got to do better than 114.
It's like a trombone. That was louder.
It wasn't actually interesting enough. That was actually less on the meter.
Yeah.
But it was more impressive, I think. It had more of an elephant quality.
I think mine was more musical.
Yes, absolutely.
I
Yours
used
was
to
more
play the
musical.
flute.
You're more full of hot
I've
air.
upset Jackie now if she can't do it.
So the thing is, and those
I
of you
broke it.
watching in South Africa, a lot of people are very defensive about this. They're very sensitive. They don't like us discussing, touching or criticising their vuvuzelas. But imagine sitting at the end of that. Apparently, not only are they a hazard to your ear, but they fill up with a lot of mucus and spit as well. So they may be very unhygienic.
Yeah, I'm not really a hygiene expert, but I would imagine being sat around a lot of these, you can't even hear the crowds cheer when a goal goes in, can you? It's so loud.
You see, where I take exception to this, if you go along to a football match, you're there to concentrate on the game. You can't tell me all these folk obsessed with all this sort of thing are even watching the football or even understanding the football or what's going on.
But I think if you get really worked up about these things, you're going to get more annoyed by them, because that's one thing which happens with noise annoyance. If you sort of get really tense about it, it just gets worse. So I think
I'm getting tense, Trevor. I'm getting tense. And it's translating there. We're getting emails in from South Africa, are we not, Charlotte?
Yeah, a lot of people are getting tense about this morning, actually. Maureen says, we're having our enjoyment of the World Cup completely spoiled by the constant drone and have now stopped watching matches because of it. David said, I hate the vuvuzela, but it does bring a different vibe to watching football. They should just get on with it. Kudu says, please leave the vuvuzelas alone. It's the way we do things in Africa, so if you don't like it, don't watch it. And Lee says, I think the vuvuzela is far less offensive for players than having a drunken fan swearing, gesturing and spitting at you. So he says, Viva vuvuzela, which is not very easy to say.
Jackie, give
just
Lucy
can't
a go.
Oh.
That's such a surprise, Jackie, because you are so full of hot air normally. I don't really understand it.
Oh, even Lucy
One more.
can't. Not very well. And it is a bit messy, isn't
Slobbery.
it?
at
Yeah,
that
slobbery
stage.
is the
But
good
anyway,
expression.
it's noisier than a jet taking off 300 metres away. Trevor Cox, thank you very much indeed. Thank you. The sports headlines now. Here's Jacqueline with those.
Franz Beckenbauer, World Cup winner, former World Cup.
Okay. Lucy, when we're looking at the weather picture out there today, how's it shaping up?
It's looking pretty good as far as the weather's concerned. Mostly fine and dry over the next few days.
Thank you very much indeed. Let's get a rundown of what else is happening news-wise. News coming in from the city. Charlotte with that.
Thanks, Eamon. Yes, we've got breaking news concerning Sky's parent company, BSkyB. It says it's rebuffed an attempt by Rupert Murdoch's News Corporation to take full control of the company. News Corp, which already owns 39% of BSkyB, had proposed buying the remaining shares at 700p a share. Our city editor, Mark Clyment, is in our central London studio. And Mark, what are the details of this?
Well, this is a pretty complicated proposal.
Her husband, Michael Douglas, looking more and more like his father, Kurt.
Well, she did thank him in the speech, and she said she was very pleased to be able to sleep with a movie star every night, was how she phrased it, which I think she later regretted phrasing it in that way, but it's too
and
late
her
once she
husband
said
as
it.
well. Lovely. Right, let's take a look at the front pages of the news. A rundown of what else is happening news-wise. Charlotte, what have you got?
Thanks, Eamon. It's politicians in the US and they're accusing BP of taking repeated risks to save money ahead of the Gulf of Mexico oil spill. Senior executives are to be questioned by members of Congress today. And there we go. That was a bit of her speaking as well. And she did,
she was speaking in her normal accent.
Gone back to her Welsh roots.
Yeah. Lovely. Every World Cup, it seems, has to leave a legacy, and in South Africa works well.